what it says.
Oh, thank you for being a friend.
I know I'm a day late, but
How cute.
R.I.P. Betty.
R.I.P. Betty. Oh, man. So we've been kind of putting this one off, and for good reason, because this one's just not going to be a pleasant one to discuss. It's rough, to say the least. It was rough. So if you watched it on ESPN Plus, just times that by 4 actually being there in person. And that was what Jacqueline and I felt the whole time, basically.
Maybe more than that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that was just being generous.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and get it over with. That way we can move on to a better game because we're going to do 2 episodes today, 2 episodes, and get them both done. That way we're ready to go and prepared for Thursday. So let's go.
Immediately, as soon as we start. But today,
You've got to be kidding me.
the only reason she's up here is because the boys are outside because it's a nice day.
This cat shows zero emotion.
Yeah. So now she's going to be friendly since she's.
She just has a bitch face. I mean, Katya is just an absolute, like, she is the absolute definition of resting bitch face.
Now she's going to be nice.
Jesus. Anyway, all right. So let's talk about it. Let's just, again, like we said before, let's just rip the Made It off. Let's just go for it. Let's just get it done and over with. That way we don't have to worry about it. I literally just got home from work so that we could get this done early. And that's why I'm still in work clothes. And so I don't have my SFA stuff on. But to be fair, I don't think the team deserves me to put on SFA stuff for this episode. Not going to lie. Maybe I'll switch into it for the next one.
It was bad. Okay, well, let's talk about the fun parts of the game.
Let's do the fun stuff. Yes.
So we went to our favorite spot, Potato Shack, which, okay, so she's already gone. The day before, I text Alex, I'm like, hey, so we do have like a whole list of recommendations now. Like, should we try something else or do we want to just, I mean, whatever. Anyway, so we decided we just like the Potato Shack, so we just wanted to stick with that.
Right? I mean, why mess with the good thing? Like, we really enjoy Potato Shack. They have good food. I haven't been disappointed once, but to be fair, we ordered pretty much almost the same thing except for our appetizers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was good. I love Potato Shack. Some people may not agree, but hey, what are you going to do? So we met some people there. We met who, Jacqueline?
We met up with Dennis, DDT. And his lovely girlfriend. So that was nice. We had lunch with them, kind of chatted about just the team and
we did
and everything upcoming this weekend, which we're excited about.
We did. Yeah, we had a nice little lunch and we enjoyed it with them. And I love Dennis. I think Dennis is so wild. I wasn't I knew he was wild, but I didn't realize he was that wild. Like he's crazy. I love it.
He is even more fun than we expected. So.
Oh yeah, like he's a hoot. He's a hoot. So we're excited to hang out with Dennis this weekend, and his girl. Hopefully, she's coming, right? I think she's
coming.
I think so too. I think so. But yeah, we're excited to hang out with them again and all the rest of our fellow lumberjack faithful who are coming into town for Thursdays and Friday or Saturday's game. And then we get to the game and Maria's there again at the game. She came down and sat with us this time since we weren't like right up behind the team. At Sam Houston, if you've never gone there, played there, their court is, where we sit, basically where the away team sits is kind of like up higher near the bench. So we're not like boom right on top of them. So, she didn't feel as nervous sitting down there with us, which was nice.
Very odd shape, though.
It is an odd shape. It always has been. It's just weird. And I don't know. Their whole setup there is just weird to me, but whatever. It's whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. We won't be playing there too many more times. So it's not, as of right now.
Yeah. We'll see.
Maybe more times. So it's whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have Maria sit with us. We have one of our friends, Matthew, and some of his friends came and sat with us. One funny note. So I saw before the game started, because a friend of mine used to work at SFA for SFA Athletics named Ben Rickard. He works for Sam now. So, I saw him down there. So I texted him hi and the little waving emoji. So we're like chatting back and forth. And then there's some undescribed delay of game that we're just sitting there. They're all out on the floor. We thought we were ready. What's happening? So I text him and I'm like, well, we going to start the game or what? And I died laughing because y'all know we all give Sam Houston such hell for caring about football, not basketball. So Ben's going to be clever and text back, if it was football, we would.
No, that was pretty funny. Yeah. He's right. If it was football, they would have started on time.
I died laughing. But whenever I watched it back, apparently they were having some kind of issue with the nets. I don't know what, but
that makes sense because I did see the guy with a ladder over there by the net on the far side. So that makes sense, but I don't know what the issue was. I don't know
if it got hung up there or something.
Maybe. But yeah, we had a decent little contingent from on the SFA side. We had, there was a few students who came. There were some alums who came. Not as many as normal, but I also chalked it up to the fact that the way that the WAC was scheduling games, it was our game and the ladies' game, right at the exact same time. So people had to basically pick and choose where they wanted to go. If it was more staggered, I could have seen it, potentially being a little bit easier for people to even go to both, or at least, make it somehow. But anyway, so people had to choose which one to go to. And so obviously there was a bunch of people that chose to go air. And then obviously a bunch that chose Nacogdoches, which again, both teams need support. So love that. But yeah, so it was, all in all, it was a decent day minus the game. But it was a nice little road trip for Jacqueline and I. It's always a quick drive. We went kind of the back way. So it was a nice little, again, drive down to Huntsville. The wind was wild. That was a pain.
The wind was so crazy.
The wind was wild. It was cold. So that also, yeah. But yeah, it was, like I said, we had fun hanging out with our friends, but other than that, it was kind of a shit day. So
yeah, I'll go ahead and give the general history background. So in our matchup history with Sam Houston, we have 54 wins and 47 losses. Our last matchup was March 6th of 2021, and we won 64-59 in Huntsville. That was a fun little game.
It was a game.
Our largest margin of victory was 85-53 in 2004, and our smallest margin of victory was 67-66 in 2012. Our starters for the game were Gavin, David, Calvin, Nigel, and Trell. Same we've been having. Net issues didn't matter, seeing as how we couldn't sing a basket anyways, says Dustin Hilton. Not wrong.
Rev, you're not wrong, hun. Not wrong. Maybe them messing with the net prior was what gave us issues. Bad juju. Maybe they did something to the net. Ooh, conspiracy theory. Let's be honest, it wasn't. We just couldn't shoot to shit. No.
Blame it on that. So we did lose 49-41, and the attendance for the game was 1,114.
Yeah. I won't go over the WAC standings just because, again, the game's over and we've had another game since then. So they're not going to be the most accurate standings. So we're just going to save that for the second episode. And the Rev also said, didn't think of that. They put a curse on the nets. They did. They did some sort of witch juju.
Any reason we can come up with is great.
Because it was just mind-boggling.
It was. Okay, let's go through the stats. So we have Sean Kennedy's stat section. Our field goal percentage was 26.3. Theirs wasn't a whole lot higher at 32.7. Our 3-point percentage was 12.
And here's the thing, like, yes, Sam didn't play their best game either, which I feel like was our only saving grace and why the game wasn't as out of hand as it could potentially have been. Let's just say that. Thankfully, Sam's game wasn't 100% either. Otherwise, if it was, this would be even worse.
So much worse. Our free throw percentage was 66.7, which is actually kind of decent, and it was better than theirs at 58.8.
Mm-hmm.
Our points in the paint, we had only 24. Points off turnovers, we had 11. Second chance points, we had 14. Fast break points, we only had 7. Bench points, we had 10. Okay, rebounds, we had 36, so they out-rebounded us by 10. They had 46 rebounds.
Holy moly.
So we had 11 offensive boards and 25 defensive boards. We had 15 fouls. We had only 11 turnovers. They had 18 turnovers. We had 8 steals and 0 blocks. And our game leader was Gavin with 13 pounds. Oh my gosh. 13 points. I don't know what I'm thinking about right now. 8 rebounds and 2 assists.
You know, I will say, so to start off the feats of strength, yeah, like, and I know Jacqueline wrote this on hers as well. The fouls have been, not fouls, but yes, the fouls were less, but also our turnovers were definitely better. Only 11 turnovers. That was great. Again, we're going to be reaching here for these positives. So the fact that we had 11 turnovers as opposed to what it was a few games ago, it's a great improvement. I love that. We definitely didn't have as many fouls as previous games. Love that as well. I will say a few other notes that I had written down. Derek and Diego both had a lot of playing time, which they haven't had up until that game. Don't know if it was because we were, behind and losing and it was just like, hey, what the hell, put them in, or just change up the lineup just to mess them up because they weren't expecting that. I don't know. But whatever the reason, they got more playing time and I couldn't be more pleased for them because they do need more playing time. They need more practice. And another thing too, what was Gavin's free throw percentage for that game?
5 of 6.
5 of 6. Yeah. Like he did really well with the free throws again. And he has been.
Yeah, for the most part.
For the most part. Yeah. For the most part, obviously it's not amazing, but it's improving. Dylan Rodriguez, my blood pressure doesn't get as high as it used to watching us shoot free throws. Well,
like we said, they're very slowly improving.
Yeah, much better. Yeah, it has been just her. The whole game in general was horrendous, but at least there was a few bright spots, and this is what we're talking about here. Yeah, so Gavin had some good free throw moments that game. Again, 5 of 6 is pretty good for him for that game. So that's pretty good. Yeah, absolutely. And then, like I said, Derek and Diego getting lots of playing time, making plays, creating disturbance on defense, and then just moving the ball around well on offense for the most part. And then Calvin had a nice block with a coast to coast in there from he blocked on one end and went to the other end, made the layup, and so that was another really good moment during the game. There weren't many, but here we go. Trell had a nice 3 in the very beginning of the game. And we had some moments, especially in the second half, like that first half. I don't even want to talk about the first half. I don't even want to think about it. It just makes me want to throw up. But in that second half, our defense actually came back and really kind of helped us stay in that game a lot. And so we did have some good moments of good defense. But for example, we had what did we say? We had 11 turnovers. They had 18. So we did cause and force more turnovers on them. We had 11 points off of those turnovers, and they only had 5 off of ours. So that was a positive. We also outshot them on bench points, 10-3, which was nice. Points in the paint, we had more as well. So, I mean, looking at the stats, it almost looked like a decently, almost evenly matched game. Almost. Almost. Yeah. It was just a horrible start. But Jacqueline, I'm sure she has a few other positives to mention.
Okay. My first 12 feats of strength are the 12 points we got in the first half. I gotta take more shots at that later, but that was just, anyways. Okay, so we did have like Alex said, we agreed on the less fouls and less turnovers, and I mean, in games like this, you gotta at least look at the stuff like that. I do think we had less turnovers because we just merely didn't try to set anything up on offense, but they were less on paper, so I'll take it.
Yeah.
Like she said, I was happy that Diego and Derek and Jonathan also got some good minutes. I thought Derek and Jonathan played some good defense when they were in, and Diego got, probably the most minutes he's gotten all season that game. Let's see. So a few small ones I have. So Trell did make a really deep 3 for our first score, so it kind of looked nice starting off. Day played some really good defense after he caused a turnover, which I always like to see, and I feel like he does well about that. The few times that he turns the ball over, he will hustle back down and make up for it.
He does. Calvin does usually. Trell has. So is David. Like most of the guys will do that, which I appreciate. Not all of them, but most of them will, which I appreciate.
Nice to see. Let's see. JJP made a good 3 in the second half, which was his first points of the game. Alex mentioned Gaben's free throws. I had that on my list too. I mean, that was really nice. 5 out of 6. That's great. Can't ask more than that. Derek did score. He made a free throw, so that was nice to see. The last good one I had that was good, but not good enough, I guess. Not no fault of his, just we didn't collectively use this to push our momentum forward. But David tied the game at the 10-minute mark in the second half with the most amazing layup against Flag, who is actually really good. Dad and I talked about this last night. But
Flag is phenomenal. He was killing us. Yeah.
Because Dad was saying that when he played for A&M, he was starting. So, it's kind of shocking that he left A&M to come to Sam, which Sam is closer to where he's from. So maybe he just wanted to get back closer to home. But I wouldn't think I would leave a starting position at an SEC school to come to Sam Houston. But whatever. Anyway, but David made that and got the 1-and-1, but it only put us at a measly 28 points.
Yeah, and like you said, it was a great moment. We tied the game up, but we just didn't capitalize on it. We didn't, we didn't try to create any sort of separation or anything like that. And so, I mean, obviously Sam Houston had all the momentum, and that's just facts. They had all the momentum. They were ready for us, and we looked like, we had zero energy, nothing, So, anything else on the positive side?
That's. I felt like I put together a pretty good list considering.
I do too. I mean, we got what we got. We had what we had.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right, here we go. There's no other way to say this. You might as well just rip off the bandage. But yeah, I agree with Maria, what she said. It was a very slow start, and it was just too big of a mountain to climb by the time they started to catch up. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. It was just too big of a deficit. And then we tied it up. And then again, they just took over momentum wise. And it was just, Dustin, I'm going to need to crack more than a beer, babe. More than a beer. Here we go.
Are you about to get a drink? Because if you are, I'm going to get up and get one.
You know what? Yeah. We're going to get a drink. 1 second.
Pause. Okay, well, what are you having?
Okay. Damn, I ran.
You
Okay.
did.
So I'm having one of my favorite beers. So it's a sour gose ale with lime, sea salt, and coriander. It's called a Salty Amigo from Birmingham District Brewing Company. So it's basically like a sour Mexican beer almost.
It's a very pretty can. Okay, so I'm
What are you drinking?
one of these Finnish long drinks, which is I always turn it the wrong way.
Yeah.
It's a gin drink that is cream. This one's cranberry flavored. Our friend Sean Clinch actually introduced these to me, but whenever I went, the flavor that he got is that I liked the best. It's like zero sugar. They didn't have any in the cooler, and I was needing it to be cold, so I got the cranberry ones, and they're not my favorite, but I was trying to do something quick and easy right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Rev Dustin Hill says disclaimer: Partner Alex encourages you to drink away your basketball pains. Yes, we do.
Absolutely.
And that's why I had 2 beer last night during the game, because I was just preparing myself for whatever might occur. But look, I got my little SFA koozie on, so
Cute. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah. So, okay, here we go.
With the airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about it. You.
Here we go. Okay. We never said that this was going to be a fluff up the butt podcast, because we're going to have games like this, and here we go. Very first possession of the game. The very first possession that Sam Houston had was a backdoor slam by Flag.
That's literally the first thing I put on my list too, because I mean, it was in less than 15 seconds, and I was just
right off the tip. They got the tip.
I was just like, I really don't want to be a pessimist, but this doesn't bode well for the day.
No, that was literally the exact thing I wrote on my notes. I put first possession was a backdoor slam. Wow, this game's going to be rough. Because if the very first possession is a backdoor slam, we are asleep at the wheel. The game just started.
Yeah.
You didn't even have time to think about, anything. You should have been on top of it immediately. Anyway.
Yeah, it was not a good start, and I agree with you. I think it shows that the mindset up here, for whatever reason on Saturday, it was just not there.
It just wasn't there.
They were ready off the jump. Granted, their
ready.
goal percentages weren't great either, and that's why, thank God, it was this low scoring game on both ends.
Mm-hmm.
So we weren't totally humiliated, but they were ready to go, and we were not.
They were exactly. You know what? And here's the thing: it's because Sam Houston always has a chip on their shoulder when it comes to us in basketball. So anytime they can beat us in basketball, it's like, Jesus, they just won the NCAA tournament. Like, you should have seen their celebration after the game. It was like they just won the WAC tourney and they're going to the freaking NCAAs. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, it was like, okay, it's a regular season game. Like, this wasn't like shit's on the line, but to them it is. To them it is, right? It's just, it's wild. They were pressing us extremely early and hard. That was another thing. We weren't ready. We were not ready. I don't know what in the hell we were doing. I don't know what we were thinking. I don't know what was going through their heads or minds, but they were just sloppy. No protection of the ball, whether it was under the basket, protection of the ball was just out the window. I mean, we were already down 15-7 at the 8:26 mark, and I was like, what are we? This whole time, I just had this look of confusion on my face. Like, what are we doing? What? Like, yes, Sam Houston's a good team. I'm not going to knock them for that. Like, I'm not going to say that they're, a horrible team and that we should have demolished them. No, it's always going to be a close game with them. Just like it's always a close game with Lamar and other teams. It's always going to be. They always play us the hardest, always. And that's fine. We're rivals. You should. But holy guacamole. It was just, they smacked us in the mouth. Shooting was horrendous in the beginning. I mean, again, the first half, 12 points. 12 points. Pretty sure that's not an NCAA record, but it might be a Division I record.
I felt like I was watching a junior high B team girls 6th grade team.
Yeah, I mean, I think my comparison I put was 8th grade B team.
Like worse than that. Because
worse than that. I was being generous, I think, with that analogy.
Listen, Kellogg's daughter's like, isn't she like 6th grade? And she scores more than 12 points in a half of the game by herself.
Facts. That's true.
It looked like a little game. 12 points at halftime.
I mean, usually we leave shooters wide open just because of the defense that we play, but we were leaving them absolutely. I mean, we gave them so much breathing room to shoot the three. I mean, we just looked lost on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. I mean, literally, I'm reading my notes word for word. Look lost, don't know what the hell we're doing. We look confused, not blocking out. I mean, no blocking out. Horrendous game all around. I am most frustrated with during this game was JJP. I love him so much, but he airballed 3 threes. Not even close. He was airballing shots left and right. Airballing. Just not even close to the basket. Not even close. And then, of course, we lose Nigel basically at the end of the first half, which was a blow, an absolute blow. That didn't help one bit. I mean, I could go on, but I'm sure you have plenty to say as well, so go ahead.
I do, and all mine are pretty broad because, again, it wasn't any one specific player like doing bad stuff. None of us looked awake or ready to go or
all of them
zoned in. I don't know what happened to make that mindset that morning, but we need to not repeat it ever again.
No.
So another note on the points. Savion Flag outscored our entire team the first half. He had more points than our entire team the first half. That's never good whenever that happens.
No.
In us losing that game, we gave Hooten the record for the most wins at Sam Houston.
Must be nice.
So I'm sure they're just going to love to say that he got that record beating us. That'll make their year. They care more about that than conference tournament anyway, really. So a few defensive notes I have. We've got, and I think I said this in my notes for the game last night too. We'll see when we get there. I can't remember, but we've got to stop anticipating a charge and flopping. Like, there's nothing I love more than taking a good charge. That I feel like lately a lot of times, and it's not even one player, it's a couple of different players, that we just have this mindset. We're like so ready to get the charge that we over anticipate, and then it's not a charge. Not a charge if you're just
it's a flop.
So
it's a flop.
We got to stop. Yeah.
You know?
Let's see. Okay, another defensive note I had. We kept letting them screen on defense and switch and get a mismatch that ended up with David on Flag.
Yes.
He ended up, which first of all is the worst mismatch ever.
Mm-hmm.
Not skill-wise, but just sheer size and height-wise. It's a terrible matchup. And
I mean, Flag, I guess, not to interrupt, but like Flag could be compared as like Gavin. He's that big and stocky.
But also taller, I think. I think he's taller than Gavin.
I think if not, they're very, very close in size. Like, but I mean, his freaking arms are the size of freaking Mack trucks, man. Like, it's huge. He's a big dude. And then putting him on David?
Yeah, but they kept allowing the switch, and then at least twice he made a three-pointer on David where David was guarding him. I mean, it's not like David was asleep. He was on him. There's just He can't defend him. He can't defend him.
Yep, I know.
So they got to talk. The person who sees the screen coming has got to talk better on that to not switch, because that's not a matchup that we can be switching on. Like, we don't have the flexibility there. So that I was not pleased with. Then my last three, just because I have to pick on something else besides us, but I had a few notes for the announcers. So first of all, I noticed a couple of times when I watched it back. For example, when you said that JJP airballed a few times, one time whenever he airballed it, they're like, oh, he airballed it. But then whenever one of the Sam Houston players airballed it, they said, oh, his shot was off the mark. And I'm like, okay.
Of course.
I feel we're going to play this. Like, you're going to call us for the airball, but then your person doesn't. You're going to say, oh, it was off the mark. There's a big ass difference between off the mark and airball.
I feel like off the mark is like it hits the rim and bounces. Like,
exactly.
That's off the mark. Airball is just, it's not even close to the net, babe.
Yeah, like airball doesn't touch anything.
Great, correct.
So I was like, oh, okay, whatever.
Wow, okay, yeah.
Then there was one possession they called Calvin Kinsmill, and I'm like, that's like the last two players you get confused on our team, but okay, pay attention. And then the last but not least, and like, listen, don't get me wrong, we clearly miss having Raw T. Absolutely miss having Raw T.
100%, 100%.
And we've had some growing pains, and thankfully some people have stepped up, and we're working through that. We wish we had him, 1,000%. But these announcers are going to say as if we lost the game and played as pitifully as we did because we're just not as effective without Raw T. And I'm like, okay, listen, do we miss him? Yes, we absolutely do. Is Raw T being gone the reason that we played like absolute dog shit and scored little dribbler points against Sam Houston? No, sorry. Back up, rewind. We played Kansas within as many points as we played Sam Houston without Raw T.
Little dribbler points.
To say that the reason we looked that bad is simply because we didn't have Raw T. We wish we had Raw T, but
yeah,
we played Kansas as close as we played Sam Houston without him. We just fell asleep at the wheel. We shit the bed. I don't know what happened.
We did. DDT. Dennis is totally. We do miss Raw T. Yes. Would we be more effective on the court in the game with Raw T in the game? Absolutely, positively, yes. He's been in the program for a long time. He knows the offense. He knows what he's doing. You know, he's played with Gavin and David and Calvin. They've all played together for a while now. Yes, we miss him a lot. But that does not mean
there were like 10 other
the linchpin to our success. Like no offense to him.
There were like 10 other things we did terribly that game that had nothing to do with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dennis is Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 3 for 24. I mean, that just speaks volume.
Well, 3 of 25 from the 3-point line. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Not good.
No. In no Coliseum, court, anywhere, are you going to win a game when you score 12 points in the freaking first half? I'm sorry. You're just not.
Well, because we outscored them the second half. Only by 5, but we did outscore them the second half. But when you're outscored over half of your points in the first half, like Maria said, we made too big of a mountain to climb back up ourselves.
We did. It was too much. It was too much. It was just too much for us to handle, too much for us to bear. I don't know what happened. You know, it wasn't like we were, you know, fatigued from a game that we just played. Like, we had time to relax and rest. I'm just flabbergasted at our performance. Just flabbergasted. I don't know. You know what I mean? And again, this is no slight to Sam Houston. They didn't have their best shooting game either, and they will admit that too. Their fans will. They were just as shocked as we were.
Yeah.
Just as shocked as we were. And I lost count of how many times I saw on social media on Saturday night after the game, people were just so confused. Not even SFA fans, like people from other schools, like, What has happened to our team, to your team? What has happened as I'm like, great question, man. Would love to know and give you an answer, but I don't know. I don't know. And I mean, yeah, Shelly Cook, it's been tough to watch. Yes, it has. It's been an absolute, like, mind-bending heart. I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it's just, it's frustrating.
That was a tough one. And I'm going to use that to segue into our one word to describe the game so we can get this one wrapped up. But literally, I was just dumbstruck, like dumbfounded completely. And I usually watch the game back to make my notes for this. But for this one, I mean, I really had to watch it back because there were so many times during that game I couldn't even watch what was happening. I was just like zoning out on one spot on the court because I couldn't even continue to watch it. Like I'm still gonna be here and support. I'm not gonna get up and leave, but like I have to disengage and disassociate for a minute because games like that, it's so hard because it's so bad and there's nothing that you can do about it, and you don't know what mental stuff's going on or what has happened the day before that has caused them to come out completely unlike themselves. And there's nothing you can do to fix it. So you just can't, like, I just couldn't focus on it any harder than that.
Yeah. And I just, the word I use is a word that a lot of people used on Saturday to describe that game. And it was just embarrassing. It was embarrassing. I've seen the Lumberjacks play like shit before. And you know what? Yeah, they played like shit. But to play like that against a rival at their house, getting absolutely embarrassed in that first half, I was lost for words. I was, like Jacqueline said, we drove the hour and 40 minutes. We weren't going to get up and leave. We were going to somehow keep calm and carry on, but it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. And we hope, and Reb said it best too. Hopefully they got the bad play, the crap game, the worst game I've seen the Lumberjacks play in 6 years or more out of the way.
Yeah.
And now we're slowly getting back to where we should be because we have 2 big games left this week. Humongous games that we cannot play like that versus GCU and New Mexico because we will get humiliated on our own court.
Yeah.
We will.
This will be my last comment to wrap it up on a semi-high note. But yes, we were absolutely, it was embarrassing and we were at a loss for words. But this is why, because that is, I'm pretty positive, the worst SFA game I've ever seen. Hey, Sean Clinch.
Hi, Sean.
I'm drinking your drink that you introduced me to, but I'm drinking the cranberry flavor. But yes, I'm pretty sure that's the worst SFA game I've ever seen. And this is why, because we have such a good team of guys this year that if our team was shitty this year, then I'd be like, par for the course, expected that.
Totally.
This group of guys has so much talent and athleticism and potential, and we've seen them do and be great and play great games. And that was very uncharacteristic and out of the norm. So it was embarrassing, and it was tough because I can only imagine how they felt and how they felt in practice the next day, because that's not the style of play that we know they're capable of. And that's why it's disappointing.
That's why it's embarrassing. That's why it's disappointing. Absolutely. I cannot agree with you more because, and I will reiterate what you said. That is not the style. That is not the team that we are used to seeing. And the fact that we know that they are capable of so much more and to play so much better than that, and then to watch what they did on that court, it was like a gut punch. It really was. And I'm just sitting here like, this can't be how the rest of our season goes. Like, this isn't it. I refuse. And I'm hoping that they watched that film back and they were equally disgusted with themselves, that they're like, we can't go on like this. Like, we can't do this, and I'm hoping that it was like a gut punch to them for them to wake up, because they need to wake up. You know what I mean? And yeah, Justin said it. Rev, sad part when the best part of the trip to Huntsville is the damn potato. Well, we had the potato before, not after. But yeah, you're right. And Shelly says it too. We won't be dancing either. You're right. I mean, if we can barely beat teams like UTRGV and all that, like how are we even going to beat New Mexico and GCU? How? Anybody?
Well, we're about to find out on Thursday.
We're about to get a rude awakening on Thursday and Saturday. I'm just saying, like, it's gonna be wild. Sean, we are not good at the moment. Potential, yes. Replacing Rati, presence, minutes.
And that, listen, like as I said, that has been a tough hurdle. But I feel like we've worked through that pretty well, and that was not the main issue on Saturday. I don't know what was, but something up here was not clicking.
Yeah. I mean, and yes, we felt a little bit of the absence from Rati, and then of course we felt some absence from Nana not being there because of, COVID protocols, I'm assuming is what it was, right? I don't think they necessarily said, but when someone's not on the bench, we're assuming that's what it is at this point in the season, right? So, I mean, we feel the absence. We do, because it's obvious for some people, when they come in and they give the starters a deserved break, but then it's just it was just frustrating. It was a frustrating game, and once we're done talking about it today, that's it. I'm not going to bring it up again. We're just gonna let go and let God in the best way possible. And so we're just gonna hopefully look forward to the future and the future games and continue to support our Jacks, because at the end of the day, that's what we're here for. We still love our Jacks, even if they are as frustrating as they're being currently. We're hoping that the rough waters are over and potential smooth sailing. We don't know. We have to get through Saturday.
Okay, so we have a few things upcoming, but we'll cover that in the next episode. So you don't repeat.
Yes. We do have a few upcoming things, like Jacqueline said, but we're going to take maybe like a 15-minute break and then come back at around maybe 5 o'clock or so. Yeah. Hold on, quick ad. Yeah, Dustin, we're definitely going to talk about this in the next podcast too, but quick ad to everyone watching, listening. Get to the Coliseum this week. If you can't get there Thursday, get there Saturday for the New Mexico State game for sure. Students, get your asses out there too. Make the Coliseum loud and get rowdy. Don't let a bunch of old folks outdo you with the Heckler and Hayes reunion. You're right. Yeah, exactly. We're going to mention that again in our next podcast, Rev. But I mean, it's going to be a great weekend. We're going to have a really good time no matter what. But we would love for people to come out and cram the Coliseum on Thursday, and let's get rowdy, let's get weird on Saturday.
It's going to be a fun weekend, I hope.
It is. So exactly. So, all right, we're going to take, like I said, like maybe a 15-minute pause break. We're going to get all of our notes and stuff ready for the Lamar game, to go over that and recap the Lamar game that just happened last night. So grab some drinks, grab some early dinner if you're at that point of your day, and meet us back here in about 15 minutes, and we will talk about Lamar. So always remember to axe some Jacks
without some Jacks.